All right, let's start by taking a new file and naming it, as we always do, your last name and doghouse. Save it to your SketchUp folder, and we can begin the drawing. For this drawing, we want to make sure we keep our avatar in the picture, but we want to move him off of the origin point down here where all of these three lines come together, the blue, green, and red axis. So to do that, we're going to get the Move tool. You can get the Move tool over here. You can also press the M key. So it's either this button or the M key. I like to press the M key. It's a little bit quicker. And we're just going to move him off and back so that he is on the other side of these lines, because we want to start drawing our doghouse from the origin point right here. So to start this, let's get our rectangle tool or press the R keyboard shortcut. And I'm going to click once, let go of my mouse. I'm not dragging it, and just moving it up and to the right. We want to create the dimension for the doghouse of 3 feet by 5 feet. So we're going to enter 3 apostrophe for feet, comma, 5 apostrophe for feet the other way. If you press enter, you should get your doghouse like this. If you got your doghouse that looked like this instead, it's because you entered the numbers backwards. And this is 5 by 3. You want to have it as 3 feet, 5 feet. And as you're entering measurements, as long as you don't click to exit the rectangle tool, you can actually keep changing your measurements until you get it correct. Okay, that's the base of our doghouse here. We're going to press the P button for the push-pull tool, which is also located over here. And I'm going to click, and just like the other tools we use, click, let go, move up slowly. And I'm going to enter this height of 3. And this will be the base for our doghouse from here. Okay, so now we're going to use another new tool, which is called the offset tool, which you can press F for the keyboard shortcut. Looks like this. And when you have the offset tool, what it does is it takes you a line, or 4 lines actually, from the house. So what you do is click once, and if you let go, it actually is going to set it right there. So I'm going to press Control Z. I don't want to have it in the inside. I'm going to click, and you actually do have to hold this tool as you move it out. And we're going to move it out roughly about 10 inches. So that was roughly about 10 inches. And that'll give you this basic height. So if your drawing should look like this at this point, if it's a little bit too big or too small, remember, you can press Control Z to go back and fix it. Control Y, and we'll bring it back again. All right, now we're going to create the roof for our doghouse. So I'm going to take my pencil tool, and I'll move from the center point, or the midpoint, I should say. You'll notice the midpoint because you get this cyan dot. And notice I'm constantly moving my drawing around by using my orbit tool. It's important that you always have a good view for what you're doing. So you may have to move your orientation of the drawing for what you're doing. Okay, from this point, I still want to work in kind of an isometric view. So I'm going to go to my midpoint. I'm going to click once. I'm going to move straight up, and I'm going to type in 1.5 feet. Okay, and you'll notice that the line, the pencil tool is still connected. So I'm actually going to move it down to this corner over here, and then I'm going to move it down to this corner over here. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this center point, or I'm sorry, this center line here. So it looks like this. Now, if you notice, the face of this one is gray, and these faces are white. So you want to have the faces white, because what that means is that the faces are facing the right direction. So if your face is gray at this point here, you can just right-click on it and say reverse the face, and then you're good to go. We want to now take our push-pull tool and go back again, but if you watch, if you click once and start moving, you're going to stop right when you get to that first line. Okay, so if you stop right there, it's because you're running into this piece of geometry. So all you have to do is tap the Control key one time, and that'll let you move all the way past it. And you'll see I'm orbiting around to the back. So when I get to the back edge of this doghouse, I just click and create it just like that. And you notice this face turned gray again, so I'm going to go ahead and right click on it and say reverse the face. Okay, so now we have the doghouse with a slight overhang on the front and a slight overhang on the sides, I should say, and also on the back. But we actually don't want to have these overhangs on the front and back, so I'm going to orbit around again, and I'm going to click once, slowly move in my back face, and I'm going to click. I'm going to move over to the face here, and this is going to stop me from going any further, and I could click to drop it so it's even. All right, same thing over here, just like that. We will now create the entrance for our dog. I'm going to press T to get my tape measure tool, and I'm going to slowly move over from the edge here and enter 8 inches from the left vertical edge of the doghouse, and I'm going to do the same thing from the right vertical edge. I'm going to come over and say 8 inches here, and this will define the opening of the doghouse. From here, I want to use my line tool. Press L for my line tool, and I'm going to come up for a distance of we're going to come up for a distance of 18 inches. So I want to make sure I'm straight up and down on that vertical line and say 18 inches, enter. And that'll give me my vertical line, at least on this side. And then next, I'm going to come straight over and box out the opening. Then I will get my arc tool, and we want to use the 2-point arc, so it's the arc, it's the second one down, and we're going to click once in the left corner, once in the right corner, back to the center, and we're going to start moving it up. All right, we'll move it up for 10 inches, enter. All right, now we're going to get rid of the lines we don't need, so I'm going to press E for my eraser tool. I'm going to click on the left vertical line here to delete this line. I'm going to click on this line and also click on this line here in the center. To remove this face right here, I'm going to right click and I'm going to say reverse. I'm sorry, I'm going to say erase this face. I want to get rid of this face, so you can either select it and press delete, or you can right click on it and say erase, and that'll give me the basic house with the opening for the dog. Next, let's add some subtle detail to the doghouse by taking our push-pull tool. We're pressing the P button and coming underneath the eave of the roof, and make sure you're using your orbit tool so you're orbiting under it. You can't push-pull this down if you look at the top view like this, because you can't see the face underneath, so you have to move it up just a little bit. And now click once and move down, and let's type in 3 inches, enter. Okay, we'll do the same thing to the other side, but instead of entering a number here, let's do it an easier way. We can use this height, we can use the height we just created to define the height of this one over here by making an inference. So if I have both faces where I can see them, I'll click on the underside face here, click and let go of your mouse. You can even orbit around if you want to. The tool will still be active. And then just touch the underside of this face, and that will create the exact same height, making them even from both sides like that. I'm going to then press E for the eraser tool, and I'm going to erase 3 lines. This vertical line here, this horizontal line here, and this vertical line here, giving me a flat front to the face of the doghouse. Okay, next we're going to add just a little bit of detail to the top of the doghouse. So I'm going to get my tape measure tool again, or press T, and I'm going to zoom in nice and close, and from this vertical edge here, I'm going to click and move over. I'm just going to come in a little bit for 3 inches here. All right, now listen carefully. With my line tool, or L, keyboard shortcut, I'm going to click the face down here, and then I'm sorry, not the face, the intersection point of the vertical line and the horizontal line here, and I start moving up. But the first thing I want to do is I want to go and infer over this little face, or this corner right here. That's the end point. Okay, and then I want to move it over, and I want to make it so that's the same height as the corner right there. Okay, so you can see the line right there, the red inference line. So I'm going to click there. Now I'm going to start drawing up the side of my doghouse, and I want to get an angle that's the same angle as the roof right here. We can make another inference here. To do that, we're just gonna, and again, you're not holding your mouse at all. You just click once to start the line, let go of your mouse buttons. You're just gonna hover over this line, and then after you hover for a couple seconds, as you move down, it's gonna give you a pink line when you're parallel to that edge. So now that we know we're parallel, we're gonna keep moving up until we get to the peak, and we're gonna move up to the peak, hover, and then slowly move down, and it should bring an inference. When you get the inference back to the pink line and the blue line, that's where we're going to create the end of this line right here. Which is, oh, there we go, down here, a little further down. So again, you hover from the top line, then move straight down until you get the pink line there, and click again. All right, now we're going to carefully move down the other side. We're going to hover over this line again. It's going to give me a parallel line somewhere. If I hover, and there's my parallel edge right there. I'm going to move down that parallel line until I get to this corner here. I'm going to hover and then move straight out until I connect with the pink parallel line again. All right, there. And I'll click, move down, and pull out. All right, now let's go ahead and delete this vertical line, this vertical dimension line. I'm going to turn my drawing so I'm looking straight at it here. And I want to go to get my text tool. So my text tool allows me to actually write letters. So I'm going to get my text tool, which is under one of these, under the rectangle tool. Under the rectangle, 6th one down, looks like this, and click this. I'm going to enter text first. I'm going to use all caps for the name of my doggy. Okay, and then you have a couple options here. This height tells you how tall the letters are going to be. So a foot is probably too big. I'm going to keep them at, let's change this to 6 quotation marks for inches. And let's change the text extrusion height. That's how far the letters are going to be pulled up. So let's change this to like 2 inches. And press OK. And you'll see you have the name kind of moving around here. Now, once you click your name, the name will go wherever you want it, but you want to make sure you get it the right orientation so it's not laying down here. I want to make it right in this space, right about here, and click again. When you click, it drops the letter there, and there you have the dog's name. You can name it whatever dog name you want is fine. Next, we're going to give the door just a little bit of detail as well. So to do that, I want to get my select tool. So I'm going to press the space for select. And what I want to do is I want to select all 3 lines around this front opening and select them. But the problem is if I just click on them, as soon as I click the next one, the other one unselects. So very carefully, I'm going to hold the shift key. When I hold the shift key down, I can now select more than one edge at a time. You just want to select the lines of the opening. If you click somewhere else, like a back face here, you can click it again and it'll unselect as long as you're still holding down your select button. So I'm going to click the last line here, and you'll see I've just selected the 3 lines, 2 verticals in the arch, and now I'm going to go back again and press the F key for my offset tool, and I'm going to click, and this tool you're going to hold it while you're moving out, and I'm going to move this out just a little bit, let it go, and then once you let it go, I typed in 2 inches. Okay, so let's look at that again. All right, I clicked, held, dragged it out. Now, you can make whatever size you want because you can change it. So I'm going to move it up here and then stop. Don't touch anything else. And then now if you just press 2 quotation marks, it'll make it 2 inches. You can make it 6 quotation marks. It'll keep changing as long as you don't click a mouse button to exit the tool. All right, but we're going to leave it just like that. And then our last step is we are going to use our push-pull tool and bring this out for 2 inches as well. All right, now that we are just about done with the basic house, let's go ahead and look at our color palette to apply color. We can add color by clicking on the 4th tab down, which is the materials button. And then the selections you see here, these are all the colors that are in the drawing already, and those are all from this guy's outfit. If we look for other colors and textures here, we can browse and we can find appropriate ones for what we're trying to do. So let's start at the roof. We have a roofing. You can pick whatever roof contours you like. I'm going to pick this one here. And then your face will slowly, as you move over the drawing, you can color one face at a time. And if you did your size and scale right, you'll be able to see those shingles right there, as you see right here. Okay, now let's just go for some of the sides of the house, front of the house, and I'm just clicking one at a time. In the back here, we can actually get our eraser tool and erase these back lines that we don't need here. Now we want to maybe color, and I use the roofing for this, but if you didn't want to use roofing, there are other ones. There's actually one for siding in here. For clad and siding, here's all different other types of stuff you can do if you want to put in brick. So put whatever colors you want. I'm just going to keep it simple like that, and then I'm going to color the dog's name too here. I might actually just keep that white. I think it kind of pops and looks pretty good right there. And then maybe I color the inside to look a little bit different, one face at a time. And that is your simple doghouse. Press save, and you're done with this part.